You and I see what's going on in the world. We know it. But how do we get the rest of the world to understand what we know? What we know all too clearly. Something's happening right now across the Western world. And New York City, where I am right now, is only the most visible symptom of it. And you know it and I know it. But listen carefully. We are watching the slow motion dismantling of a civilization, not through invasion, not through collapse, but through surrender. It's been marketed, branded, and sold as progress. We know better. Yet everything about it looks and feels like decay. You see it in the streets, you see wherever you go, around the world, in the schools, in the language, in Europe. It's a quiet revolution designed not to rebuild America, but to erase it, to destroy it, to expurgate it. At the top of this movement, if you will, sit the architects of globalism. This is what you and I know, but the regular folks don't. Men who meet in glass towers in Davos and Geneva, who write blueprints for a future where nations no longer matter, where sovereignty becomes a relic of the past. They speak in polished phrases, in sobriquets, and sustainability, inclusion, and equity. But behind that corporate vocabulary is the same goal that tyrants have had across time: control. The World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, WHO, the Club of Rome, all the others that are not content to advise governments. You know it and I know it. They want to replace them. They believe your property, your children, your faith, your health, your national identity are obstacles to their version of order. Now let me go on. But before we go on, let me make sure you listen very carefully to this word from our sponsor. As many investors are quickly realizing, exploration companies are making bold moves south into the United States, where policies are rapidly shifting to support domestic production of critical minerals. With rising geopolitical tensions and growing trade uncertainty, securing reliable local sources of metals like copper has become a strategic national priority. Copper isn't just a vital industrial material, it's a backbone of national defense and advanced military technology. From communication systems and radar to weapons guidance, aerospace, and naval infrastructure, copper plays a critical role in maintaining military readiness and technological superiority. And now, U.S. copper prices are reflecting that urgency. After threats of a massive 50% import tariff on Chinese goods, prices have surged, sending a clear message: domestic copper is more valuable than ever. That's why District Copper Corporation is starting to stand out. The company recently secured a U.S. market listing, ticker CAXPF, a strategic move that boosts its visibility with American investors and aligns it with federal priorities around critical mineral supply chains. District Copper is advancing its projects with a focused mission to help reshore copper supply and support industries vital to U.S. national security. With copper hitting 16-month highs, global supply chains under pressure, and the looming potential closure of one of the world's largest copper mines in Indonesia, the need for stable domestic production is becoming urgent. In this environment, District Copper Corporation is positioning itself for long-term growth and potential expansion into key U.S. states known for their strategic mineral wealth. The company is aligning with powerful macro trends, and with the growing demand for copper in defense, aerospace, and secure communications, the timing couldn't be better. If you're following developments in critical minerals and defense-related resource strategies, District Copper is one to watch. Click the link in the description to learn more, and thank you to District Copper Corp for making today's video possible. Their model is simple: create chaos, then offer structure, destroy the family, then offer dependency, mock religion, then sell moral relativism, redefine gender, and then demand that everybody comply. It's about undermining procreation and then call population decline progress. You will own nothing, they say, and you will be happy. This is not a prediction. It is a command. It is a promise. It is told. It is promised. It is guaranteed. What used to be local politics has now become an experiment in submission to global governance. Agenda 21, Agenda 2030 are not conspiracy theories. They are policy frameworks drafted to transfer authority from elected governments to international boards that no citizen voted for. Did you hear what I said? Every zoning regulation, every climate mandate, every digital identity proposed to you and others moves one more piece of American life under foreign management. That's what this is about. It's a transformation. And the language sounds harmless enough. Carbon neutrality, sustainable development, global health. But it all comes down and points to the same outcome. Less choice, less freedom, less nation, less America. Every education system now trains citizens for obedience rather than thought. The new moral order tells children, in essence, to question everything except the ideology itself. It's no longer enough to tolerate differences. You must affirm them or be punished. You see, words and ideas have become weapons. Pronouns have become policy. Don't think they've gone away, by the way. Every institution, from the media to the universities to the corporations, now speaks with the same accent, the accent of this global conformity. In this new order, this new world order, individuality is the enemy. The family becomes suspicious because it teaches loyalty stronger than state. Faith becomes dangerous because it recognizes authority higher than man. And masculinity is condemned because it defends rather than submits. Femininity is redefined until motherhood itself becomes some kind of an obsolete spectacle. These are not cultural shifts. They are strategic erasures. The goal is not equality, but replacement. You hear what I'm saying? Now look, you can see the results in every American city. The old governments, the old neighborhoods no longer feel like home. They're not familiar. People whisper rather than speak. Citizens apologize for their success. The moral vocabulary, our moral vocabulary, our lexicon, has been rewritten so thoroughly that defending traditional values is now considered hate. And behind it all, stand the same global foundations funding the same activist networks that promote division, dependency, and decay. Does this sound familiar? How long have we been talking about this? They no longer need to seize power with armies when they can simply buy it with grants. They fund restorative justice programs, the worst that dismantle law enforcement. They push environmental mandates that cripple energy and energy independence. They champion migration policies, illegal immigration policies that erase borders and culture and tradition and languages, and they call it compassion. They celebrate cultural relativism while quietly exporting the same centralized ideology to every corner of the world. The goal is a borderless economy, a borderless morality, and a borderless people managed not by elected leaders, but by technocrats. Technocrats who answer only to one another. This is the long game. It began decades ago, with the ideas of Saul Alinsky, who taught that the surest path to power was through the institution of trust. The schools, the churches, the press. See, if you capture those, well, you can capture the mind of a generation without firing a shot, and that's precisely what they've done. The students of that philosophy now run universities. They write headlines, and they shape legislation. They do not declare themselves revolutionaries. Oh, no. Because they no longer have to. No. The revolution not only will not be televised, but the revolution already won. It's already began with it won. See, the destruction of American culture is what this is about. It was never going to happen in one dramatic event, in one fell swoop. Excuse me. It was always going to happen like this. Incrementally, bit by bit. citizen by citizen, neighborhood by neighborhood, bureaucratically, behind the comforting smile of a social initiative. They call it equity. They call it justice. But what it really means is engineered dependence. This is a society that cannot stand on its own. It must kneel. And kneeling is exactly what the global planners want. It's what they precisely want. Look closely at the vision of the future. Look closely. Digital currencies. Oh my God. Digital currency, CBDC, monitored in real time. Social credit systems. They're coming described as ESG scores. Health passports that decide whether you can travel, whether you can work, whether you can buy food. These are not fantasies. They are not anything to scoff at. They are proposals already being tested in Europe and Canada and parts of the United States. And once the infrastructure exists, freedom becomes a privilege that can be revoked with a click. Do you hear what I'm saying? That fast. New York, my beloved New York, like every global city, is their laboratory. It's where they test the limits of what people will tolerate. The rhetoric, the joke, the lie of restorative justice that releases criminals into the streets, it's not competence. It's not incompetence. It's neither. It is conditioning. When citizens grow accustomed to chaos, they in essence beg for control. And control is the end game. That's what it's about. Every failed policy has a purpose. Every crisis paves the way for consolidation. The people who claim to save the world from the inequality of the world are building a system where a handful of elites will own everything, including the narrative itself. It is feudalism with Wi-Fi, tyranny with, in essence, better branding. We are told to celebrate diversity, yet every policy I know pushes towards sameness. We are told to protect democracy, yet every regulation removes another choice. We are told to trust the experts, yet every expert comes from the same boardroom, the same think tank. This is the new empire. One, my friend, built not on armies, but on algorithms. And you know, it all begins when ordinary people stop believing they have the right to say no. That is the essence of freedom. The ability to reject, to dissent, to refuse. The moment you trade that for comfort, you no longer live in a democracy. You live in a managed society designed for obedience. I hate to say it, but the truth is simple. The struggle is no longer between left and right. It's between those who believe in self-governance and those who believe the age of nations is over. It's between those who see people as citizens, like you and me, and those who see them and us as data. Between those who still remember freedom and those who've been trained, in essence, to forget it. If America falls to this, there will be nowhere left to run. Because there's no frontier beyond the digital frontier. And there is no rescue coming from Davos or Geneva or the UN. The only resistance is the refusal to comply. And that begins with understanding exactly what is being done to us and why. We need a massive education program. We need to tell people once and for all what's going on. We need to tell people and explain to them what's happening because they don't know this. They don't know this. We sound crazy to them. You must understand this. We sound crazy. We sound like lunatics. They call us conspiracy theorists because we've been talking about this, and it's the truth. So, my friends, do yourself a favor. Do me a favor. First of all, thank you for letting me into your hearts and in your minds and into your brains. Please like this video. Subscribe to this channel. Only like 70% of the people who watch this don't even subscribe. We need those metrics. Hit that little button so you're notified of live streams and new videos or whatever you do. I ask you to review the questions I pose for you and comment as you see fit.